सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ॐ Namaste, all of you. Welcome back to our continuing study of this great text, Vivekachudamani, authored by the great Acharya Adi Shankaracharya millennia ago and taught to us compassionately, systematically, consistently. It's a lot of care by our dear Acharya Swami Paramarthananda. I hope all of you were able to go through the last two capsules in which I highlighted the two important acronyms that Swamiji uses to help us discriminate between Atma and Anatma, between what is real and what is unreal, what is Satyam, what is Mithya. One acronym is called Om Act, and the other is Essence, ESNS. As I mentioned in the last sessions, the whole study of Vivekachudamani is to help us do just that. To first of all, listen to the Acharya, the Guru, when he is teaching us about the various components of our personality. Each of us is made up of both Anatma and Atma. And all our acharyas strive hard, Vedanta strives hard to help us understand all the layers of our personality, both the material layers as well as the spiritual component of our personality. They help us nicely contrast between the two and tell us very clearly that we must claim Atma as our real self. Atma is our real self. Our acharyas direct our attention to recognize the Atma which we have successfully ignored, resulting in ignorance, which is the cause of all our samsaric problems. Just like the ignorance of the rope results in drawing wrong conclusions about the object that is lying in front of us. Since we don't know the object thoroughly, clearly, we are ignorant of the object or partially knowledgeable about the object. We draw wrong conclusions. Hence, all the problems, the fear, the dukkha, etc., etc. All this was clearly explained by Swamiji through his commentary on shloka number 12, the important shloka number 12. Just to recapitulate the shloka alone, I will read that shloka and then we will continue our study with shloka number 13. If you remember, the shloka read as follows: Samyag vicharata siddha rajju tatvavadharana भ्रांतोदित महासर्प भय दुख विनाशिनी Samyak vicharata siddha, said Adi Shankaracharya. We looked at this shloka in quite a bit of detail. Now we will continue in the same vein. Shankaracharya continues to drive home the point about the importance of vichara. The samyak vichara that he mentioned in the 12th shloka, he is reinstating the point by saying that the vichara must not be done independently. It ought to be done only with the help of an acharya, a competent acharya. That's the message that's coming through the next shloka. We'll read the shloka and then move on to understand from Swamiji how we need to understand the shloka. Shloka number 13. Arthasya nischayo drishtah vicharena hitoktitah न स्नानेन न दानेन प्राणायामशतेन va. Another important and interesting shloka. Let's hear from Swamiji what he has to say. Swamiji says in this shloka, the same idea The idea about vichara, the idea about vichara is reinforced through a principle called Vyatireka. Vyatireka. Swamiji will explain what Vyatireka means. Previously, Shankaracharya said, inquiry alone can bless us with knowledge. Inquiry alone, by using the right tool, the right instrument for inquiry, will definitely bless us with knowledge, is what Shankaracharya said. Here, he emphasizes, he emphasizes that nothing else can give knowledge. Previously, he stated it positively. Here, he says, nothing other than inquiry will bless you with knowledge. It all tantamounts to the same thing. Inquiry is the only way, nothing else other than inquiry is the way. When you say, when you say inquiry alone can give knowledge, it is a positive statement called Anvaya. It is a positive statement called Anvaya. Nothing else can give knowledge is stressing that negative. Nothing else can give knowledge means nothing other than inquiry can bless you with knowledge. This is called Vyatireka. Stating it positively is Anvaya. Stating it negatively, in the sense, excluding everything else except inquiry, is Vyatireka. That is, only in the presence of inquiry will knowledge arise. Only in the presence of inquiry will knowledge arise. That's the bottom line. Therefore, he says, Arthasya Nischayah Vicharena. Arthasya Nischayah Vicharena. Nischayah means Dridhajnanam. Firmly established knowledge, doubt free knowledge. Knowledge that gives me conviction. Nischayah means Dridhajnanam of reality. Dridhajnanam of reality. This is at the highest level. But Nischayah also works, is required even when we deal with anything on the Vyavaharika plane. I must have complete, thorough knowledge about anything that I deal with, even in Vyavahara. Let alone at the Paramarthika Satyam plane. So Nischayah means Dridhajnanam, about reality. Like, for example, the reality of the rope, the truth of the rope, like we saw in the previous shloka. Artha here means the reality. Artha here in this context means reality. The vastu. Here we are talking about vastu, equating the word vastu with Brahman. So artha here in this context means reality. The vastu, which is Brahman. Reality will vary according to the context, isn't it? In the case of the snake problem, in the case of the snake problem, what is the reality? In the case of the snake problem, what is the reality? The rope. The rope is the truth or reality of the snake. Whenever there is, whenever self ignorance is the problem, whenever self ignorance is the problem, the reality is the self. Whenever self ignorance is the problem, the reality is the self. One needs to meditate on this sentence. Whenever self ignorance is the problem, the reality is the self. Artha, the word artha has a generic meaning of reality. It can be, like I said earlier, it can be extended, it can be used in any context. It can also be extended to the ultimate reality, which is Brahman or Atman. And therefore, the group of words Arthasya Nischayah Vicharena means Arthasya Nischayah means Satyavastunaha Satyavastunaha Dridhajnanam Vicharena Eva. Arthasya Nischayah means Satyavastunaha Satyavastunaha Dridhajnanam Vicharena Eva. Firm knowledge about the reality, the Satya Vastu, Brahman, is possible only through inquiry. It's possible only through inquiry. If I were to understand the reality of our snake, as we saw in detail, it can be arrived at only through proper inquiry. Vicharena eva. So, Satyavastunaha Dridhajnanam Vicharena eva. In the case of the rope snake, the rope is the Satyavastu, right? So, if I need to know the reality of the rope, if I need to get Dridhajnanam, the only way possible is to make a proper inquiry with the right tools, right? We saw all this in the last shloka. And what type of inquiry? What type of inquiry is the next question, which we will look at in the upcoming capsule. Hari Om.